G'day and welcome. Pack your bags for Australia with Chris Shee. Now, everybody needs to unmute and say, G'day, mate. So we're going to go around the classroom and you're going to say, G'day, mate, because that, if you go to Australia and you guys go and meet people in Australia and you lead with G'day, mate, which means have a good day. How are you? Hello, hi, bonjour, merci, beaucoup, whatever. G'day means short for good day, just so you know. So it's crazy, huh? So Layla, I'm going to start with you. You're going to say g'day. I'd like you to say g'day.
G'day.
Asma, say g'day.
G'day.
Sweet. Darlene, this is your turn.
Good day.
Very
Good day,
nice.
mate.
G'day, mate. All right, Ananthi.
Good day.
Beautiful. Fatin.
Good day.
Beautiful. Good day. I love how some people say good day. It's great. Fantastic. All right, Eva.
Hooray.
So g'day, g'day, g'day.
G'day.
Yes. Beautiful. Harinda.
G'day.
Beautiful. Tim.
G'day.
G'day. Beautiful. Hey, bravo. You guys rock. That's if you say g'day, mate, in Australia when you go, it means, hey, mate, have a good day. I love it. You guys, that's the best g'day, mate, I've ever heard in my life. So here we go. Pack your bags to Australia. So I wanted to share with you guys, I was born in Western Sydney, so in this little hospital called Auburn Hospital. All right, I'm just going to let Tufik in, and we're going to have to have Tufik say g'day, mate, as well. So g'day, Tufik. How you going, mate? Now, pack your bags to Australia. You have to say hello to everybody in Australian, which is g'day, mate. So now your turn. You have to say g'day, mate. Tufik, you got to say g'day, mate.
Good day, mate.
G'day, mate. C'est ça? That's it?
Beautiful.
Okay.
So that's if you're going to Australia, you're going to say g'day, which is short for good day. So hello. G'day. So
Everybody else, sorry, Chris, everybody
Yeah.
else, if you unmute yourself and we can welcome Tofik into class and we can all say, good day, Tofik. Everybody
G'day.
ready?
G'day, Tofik.
Good day, Tofik.
Good day, everyone.
G'day,
Today,
Tofik.
mate.
G'day with the delay.
This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Okay, so was born in Western Sydney, but I have an Australian father, and I was born to a Swiss mum. So I'm a little bit international, but I was born in West Sydney, Auburn. And then when I was 2 years old, we moved to Adelaide Hills, which is a wine region of South Australia. So you guys would have heard of Sydney, I'm sure, in the East Coast, which is a big city in Australia. I was kind of born in a little place off the side, and then down here you can see. Oops, I'll go back. All right, so I was born here, but then we moved down to Adelaide Hills which is about 35 minutes away from the city of Adelaide, which is the capital, which has a population of 1.8 million people, and it's quite a big area. I'm not sure, but what's that? Nearly 1 million kilometers squared is the state of South Australia. So the province called South Australia. All right. So
We have a question.
Oh yeah, we got a question.
We do. We have a question.
All right, cool.
We
I'm just gonna
did a Kahoot with
Yes,
all
I
of the
will ask
capitals.
about this.
All right.
And it said that the capital of Australia was Canberra.
Yes, not a delay.
And we'd never heard of
Yeah.
it. And we were so ready to tell you we knew the capital. And now I'm thrown off.
I think I was supposed to say it's the capital of South Australia.
It does say capital of South Australia, so I didn't realize there were.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure in countries, but there's different. Or is there capital cities in each state? That's how I understood. So in South Australia, the capital city of South Australia is Adelaide, and then or the capital city of Australia is Canberra. Yeah.
Okay.
So
the same way that in Quebec is our capital.
Yeah.
Quebec City is our capital. Ottawa is the capital city of all of Canada. It works the same way.
Okay. Right? So everybody. Yep. Sorry.
What language most of the people speak in Australia?
Great question. Australian. No. We speak English. But
English.
But it's we call it Australian because it's like Quebec, right? The French, Quebecers use their own words in French, right? But sometimes we use different slang words in Australian, which is where we're well known for, right? So, but any other questions? Feel free to ask me. I'm open to answering questions. So yeah, capital city of Australia is Canberra, which you guys learned, and then capital city of South Australia is Adelaide, which is a smaller city. Cool. Yep. Asma.
What we call the old nation in Australia?
The old nation of Australia?
Yeah, the original Australian, like the Indian here in Canada.
Oh, the indigenous people of Australia.
Yes.
It's I guess politically correct or correct to say indigenous people of Australia, but they also like to be called Aborigines, the Aborigine population of Australia. Yeah. And so and there's a couple of really good movies I'd love you to watch from Australia. One's called Australia, and it does show the challenges of the white settlers coming to Australia and then trying to integrate with the indigenous people. And then there's the stolen generation where like a lot of the white settlers took a lot of the kids, the indigenous kids, away to try and teach them the Western way. And it's a very tough history, right? So it's super important to talk about because it's reality, and it's something that's really important to talk about. So yes, indigenous people or Aboriginal population, and we'll get into some food as well, with which the indigenous people eat and cook. So wine region, if you like wine, definitely Adelaide Hills, South Australia is beautiful. Like Darlene, you'd love it. You'd love it. And the beach is only 20, 25, 30 minutes away. So it's
wine.
great.
Beach, yes, but I don't drink wine.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so South Australia. So this is Henley Beach, where after a game of football on Saturdays, Australian football, which I'll show you guys later, I would go to this beach and I would go in the cold water in winter and try and recover from a tough match of football afterwards. Here you might see this area up here is the Adelaide Hills. Here we go. Adelaide Hills region up here. Hang on. Here we go. All right. And then here is Adelaide Oval, which is where we play cricket and Australian rules football, and a lot of fans come to watch the sport here. So, yep.
Question.
Yeah.
Is Australian football and rugby the same or similar?
Oh, it's similar, Tufik, but it's definitely not the same. It's definitely not the same. I'm going to show you guys something, but it's definitely not rugby. But
their player also cricket?
We play very much cricket, and Sachin Tendulkar was like one of my favorite players.
Oh,
And yeah, cricket is a huge, and against you, you Indians are tough cricket players. When we used to go and play in India, it's a tough environment to play and win in India, I'll tell you. So very much a rivalry between India and Australia with cricket. So I wanted to share you guys where my father lived in South Australia, which is Kangaroo Island. Now, Kangaroo Island is off the bottom part of Adelaide here and Adelaide Hills where I lived. But my father lived majority on this island. And I don't know why it's called Kangaroo Island, people, because there's more wallabies. There's more wallabies than kangaroos on the. It should be called Wallaby Island. But do you guys know the difference between wallabies and kangaroos? No. So
No.
Wallabies is like a smaller version of a kangaroo, which is bigger and taller and bigger. But a wallaby is, I guess, part of the same family, maybe. But anyway,
for me, it's the same.
it's for me, it's the same.
Yeah.
But Kangaroo Islands are beautiful. Like if you ever go to Australia and South Australia, you go to Kangaroo Island because it's nature, and in 2019, 2020, I don't know whether you followed the news, but we had really bad bushfires. A lot of bad bushfires, and it nearly it killed like a billion animals, like a billion, not 1 million, 1,000 million animals. It was terrible. And then anyway, this little island gets forgotten off the bottom of Australia. It's called Tasmania. So you got Melbourne and Canberra, and then Sydney, and then Hobart is the capital of Tasmania. And this is kind of like the forgotten island of Australia, right? Like it's right at the bottom on its own. So Kangaroo Island, is it's a beautiful place. Seal Bay, where you go and see the seals. You got the koala, there's a lot of koalas that on Kangaroo Island too, and they eat so many gum trees that they have to control the population, because otherwise they damage the environment, because they eat so many eucalyptus. And then it's wine, a wine region as well, KI, Kangaroo Island. And so Island Beach, I have to tell you a story to tell you. So my father lived pretty much this house pretty much right there. Right. And this is Island Beach, where my dad lived on Kangaroo Island on the coast here, which is beautiful. And one day, actually, we used to do crabbing. We used to put the net over the side of the boat, and we used to go crabbing and play, like rock, paper, scissors. You guys know that game, rock, paper, scissors? Does anybody know? Yep. So you kind of rock, paper, scissors. And when we were bored, we'd play this game. And then one day, just out here, I was getting bored. We were playing the game. We were doing some fishing. And just for a joke, I said to my dad, "Hey, turn around, Dad. There's a whale out there. There's a whale down." He's like, "Look around. There's no whale, right? There's no whale." And then 5 minutes later, no joke, he said, "Chris, turn around. There's a whale out there." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, Dad." I turn, and there's a mother whale and her calf, just like 20 meters from my boat, and in a little tin boat, like a little small little boat that it's called a tinny, because it's a tin boat. The material tin, like on a roof. So you go in your boat, and it's called a tinny because it's a tin boat. And I was like so scared. I'm like pulling up the anchor. "We've got to get out." Dad's just like, "Look, calm down, Chris. It's all right. Just let it go past. It's not going to do anything. Just relax." So anyway, it was 20 meters from a whale and her calf. I was like, incredible story. So that's where I was. Okay. So, and any questions you guys have, just answer, ask me and I'll try and.
Did you get a selfie?
No, I didn't. There was no cell phones back then. No telephones. I think I had an Ericsson phone with like a little screen like this, black and white, and there was no reception out there.
Every year, Australia has forest fire. Why?
Yeah. Why? Well, number one, it's because it's very dry, and number two, it's because with the regeneration of the forest and the eucalyptus trees, the fire actually breaks the nuts, the seeds of the trees, and so it releases the seeds because of the heat, and so it's in a controlled way. It's rejuvenating the forest. You know, it's creating more trees. But what happened in 2019 was too much. Like it was too very windy, too much forest, and because there was laws that came into Australia to stop burning, to stop like purposeful burning. But by purposeful burning, it actually controls the amount of forest, and if there's too much forest, there was too much fire and too much wind, and it caused a lot of damage because they weren't allowed to burn, which I think they need to burn on purpose to be able to bring the forest down so that it's not too much. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But Australia is very diverse. It says I got this off the internet. It says Australia is home to Australia is home to 10% of the world's biodiversity, and a great number of its flora and fauna. Flora and fauna, I didn't know what it meant, but it means vegetation and wildlife, animals. That's what I learned. And do you know this platypus? Do you know this animal?
Yes.
You do, Leila?
Yes.
Yes, we learn in science classes,
Yes, me
because
too.
it's the only animal that put eggs and they are mammals.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a totally weird animal. Like, look, it's got a bill like a duck. It's got webbed feet. It's got fur. They can hardly see, and they lay eggs, and they're a mammal. Like, you know, it's like, wow, what an incredible animal. But it does snow in Australia. It's not.
Never.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So in this area here, yeah. Why do I keep? Okay, the next part is sport, but okay. So here in this area here, it snows. There's mountains, and they have ski resorts in winter. So that's the only part where it snows.
So in Australia, the southern part is colder than the northern part.
Yeah, it is. Like South Australia is the driest state, so it gets the least amount of rain in this area. Up here is wet and dry, so like wet season and dry season. Western Australia is a lot like very dry, and then gets a little bit more humid the more you go up. In the center of Australia, it's pretty much desert. Like, you know, it's very, very cold. Like in the desert, it gets like minus because of there's no forest. You know, there's nothing to keep the heat in. And then Queensland is very tropical, like very, very humid. You know, good one day, perfect the next. Like it's 25, 26 degrees all year round. It's very tropical if you're into tropics and you know, martinis and stuff. And then Brisbane, that's down here, is a bit more tropical, and then Sydney and Melbourne, it's like four seasons. You know, wet winters, hot summers, you know, humid springs, and kind of, you know, changing colors and leaves falling off the trees in autumn. So what is AFL football? So Tawfiq, to answer your question, football is, no, it's not rugby. We play a lot of cricket. Rugby, no, it's not Australian football. Tennis, swimming, soccer. I just wanted to play a little bit of, I'll just play a little bit of what is Australian football, but I can send you this presentation and then you can play this at whenever you want.
It's got running. Now they're starting to run. It's got kicking. It's got bone-on-bone hits with the hands. No, it's not rugby. It's Australian football, although you might hear it called Aussie rules or even footy. This is Australia's biggest sport and is now played professionally by 18 teams in the AFL. It has the 4th highest average attendance of any domestic sports league in the world. These are some serious fans. What do you say we talk basics? Right. Aussie rules is played on a...
Beautiful. All right. So you guys get the gist, but you can watch that, you know, once you get the presentation. So that's Australian rules football. So Tawfiq, no, it's not rugby.
Yes, I saw it before, but I did not understand the rules, and it's very complicated for me. I looked, the ball is like rugby, and it's sport of contact, and it's very complicated for me.
Yeah,
I think only in Australia. Yes.
Yeah, they're trying to make it global, but it is predominantly only in Australia. But it's played in Canada here. You know, there's a league here, but it's like a social. Like I play a little bit of football in this league in Montreal, but it's played around the world. But professionally is played in Australia. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can.
They are holding the ball in their hand and they calling it football.
Yeah.
Why?
It's exactly right. They hold it in their hands, and but I think because you pass the ball.
They're kicking it at the end. Just
Correct.
the kick.
Just the kick. That's why they call it football.
It's like American football. It's the same. They kick just one time and
when they scoring the goal.
Yeah, exactly. So when you score when you kick the ball through the big posts, it's a goal and it's 6 points. Yeah, so you have to kick it with your foot through the big post to have one goal. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we have to try it.
We should do a class once we can all get back together again. We'll have a Australian football session.
Yeah, why not?
That'd be fun. Yeah, but watching the video, actually, the 5 minutes is really good. It teaches you really everything that you need to know about the sport, and I think you'll understand it a lot better than what I can explain it. So cool. Any other questions on that? No? Good?
Yeah. Is that the same sport the way that Margot plays it?
Yeah, so we play Margot. She played rugby and then she transitioned to Australian football. Yeah. Yeah, so I coached Margot before in football. Yeah, yeah. So I'll send you the presentation, but you can get and listen to some Australian rock and roll music and some Indigenous Australian music, Midnight Oil and AC/DC and In Excess, Australian rock bands which are really famous, and then Yothu Yindi is a Indigenous man that plays some Aboriginal style music, which is really, really interesting too. So does everybody know AC/DC, the band? AC/DC rock band?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, they're very cool, but I'll let you look at that yourself. There's some fun books. The Wiggles is an Australian kids band. Blinky Bill, Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. It's a talking kangaroo that you can. It's 1968, so it's back in like old. So again, you can look at that. But I just wanted to share my friend. I played football actually with Chris Blows, this guy down the bottom right-hand corner here, and he lost his leg to a shark attack 3 years ago. And so it's a very interesting story. Like he was surfing and he got his leg taken by a great shark, just gone. Crazy story. So it's to actually know someone like your friend that you went to play football with, and now he's still surfing, but he has no leg. He's very lucky to be alive. So here are a couple of movies to watch. Of course, Crocodile Dundee. Everybody's seen Crocodile Dundee. Like, oh, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yes.
Anyway.
And Australia too. I saw it before.
Australia, very, very good story about the challenging past of Australia with the Indigenous people and stuff. Here's a very funny comedy of all the funny terminology and that Australians use in the castle. This one here, and then the rabbit-proof fence is another really, really tough story about Australia's past with Indigenous people and so forth. So it's a really beautiful film. Here's some Indigenous people art, finger like cave painting and stuff, which is like over 41,000 years ago. The first Indigenous people kind of settled up in this top left-hand corner of Australia. All right, some traditional Aussie food. So what have we got here? So we've got pavlova, which is a meringue crusty outside with like a gooey cream inside with like fruits and stuff on the top. Vegemite. Has anybody tasted Vegemite before? So it's a breakfast. It's a breakfast or any type of snack. You have it on your toast with butter, and you either love it or you hate it. But it's very famous for Australia. But you have to have it with butter and bread. Don't let people say, here, try this. It's like Nutella. Don't let people do that. Don't say it's Nutella or chocolate. Like it's definitely not. It's a salty brown spread, right? Then you got meat pies. So very Australian, like this, the meat pie with sauce, which is ketchup, tomato sauce, and then sausage rolls, very, very Australian.
You jump with biscuits. Which one? It's biscuits. Anzac biscuits.
Oh, the Anzac biscuits.
Biscuits.
We call cookies biscuits in Australia. It's like, what? Like so Anzac cookies, but we call it biscuits, but it's spelt biscuits. You're right. I don't know why you say biscuits, but you don't pronounce the S and the Q, So lamingtons. So this brown with the coconut flakes. It's like a sponge cake with this coconut on the chocolate. Pasties, which this thing here with the half round's got vegetables in the middle, and you have it with sauce. Disgusting. This is Anzac biscuits, the little biscuits here, and then on the right hand side there's a pie with sauce, and then a green soup. It's a green pea soup with a meat pie in the middle of it, and it's called a pie floater. It's the equivalent to la poutine de Quebec. This is the poutine for South Australia. It's disgusting. Like it's ridiculous, but it's
And is that ketchup on top of a pea soup?
yes, yes, it
On
is.
top of a meat pie.
Yes, it is, Darlene. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
And is the meat pie just meat, or is there other stuff in it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a put-in brown sauce with like viande hachée. Like, how do you say minced meat? It's minced meat with like a brown sauce, and you don't know what part of the animal it actually is, but it's minced meat, and it's yeah, it's
I
interesting.
like that you are honest. I like that you are honest. It's disgusting.
It's,
That's mean don't eat it if you went there.
don't eat it. It's not good for you. Don't do it. And then now you guys can say this word, right? It's witchetty grubs. Witchetty grubs. So these guys are indigenous, traditional Aboriginal food where you take the bark off the tree, and these grubs are in there, and you cook, you smoke them or you cook them in the ground, and you eat them, and apparently they're like top notch.
Did you try it?
Yeah, I've tried. I've tried it. Yeah. It's just
witchetty grubs.
Witchetty grubs.
Which animals they usually to eat?
Which animals eat? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what animals would eat, but I'm sure like
Whatever who breathe.
well, like do you know an animal called a wombat? A wombat. I'll show you what a wombat is, but they dig underground and they make their burrows, their nests underground. And the animals that can, I'm sure a lot of birds would eat witchetty grubs because they can use their beaks to get in behind the bark and get the bark off the tree and eat the witchetty grubs. I'm sure, but I'm not sure what animals eat witchetty grubs. But I know it's indigenous people eat witchetty grubs. They cook them, in the ground, in the ashes and stuff, in the charcoal. So anyway, so there's some food for you guys to try. This guy, Steve Irwin, was an animal concert. Does people know Steve Irwin? Like, this guy is incredible.
He's famous.
He died from a stingray injury to the heart. So a stingray stung him in the heart, and just in this area here. So this is the real crocodile Dundee. This is the real crocodile hunter, and he died just here up the top of Australia on Bat Reef. So it was sad. So I'll encourage you to look at this video of Steve, because he's a real hero. All right, I'm going to finish off with my trip from Western Australia all the way back to Adelaide. So and then we're done, because I know I don't want to take too much of your time, but we flew from Adelaide to Perth, Western Australia, which is a 3-hour flight, and then we took a van. And this is, you guys got to do this if you ever go to Australia. You got to visit up high up here too, like up above Perth. But we took the Perth, a van, Perth, Margaret River, wine region, beach, amazing.
There is, Chris, there is one area more rich than others.
More rich in
and development and.
Yeah, there is a lot of the main rich. You mean population rich, like people rich?
Yes,
yeah.
Like in Europe, the north from each country is more rich than the south.
Oh, you mean in economically and
yes.
And look, I mean, look, Australia is so big. That I don't get the feeling like that there's
difference
different. I mean, in Adelaide,
among the areas?
Yeah, I can only talk to you really about Adelaide City, where I'm from. So just over here, like where we drove back with the red dot here. But I know that there's areas like northern areas of Adelaide, which is less economically well-to-do than like the inner city or whatever. But I don't get the feeling in Australia like that there's richer areas than other, like a northern or a southern. It's more depending on in the cities where you are. Like it's not northern or southern. There's specific areas, I think. But I don't know if that makes sense. But I never got the feeling that there is poverty and there's richness in Australia for sure. But I can't tell you what region of Australia that there would be. There's less population in the north, so there would probably be maybe less richness up northern part of Australia because there's less population, but I'm not sure. So this is the actual photo that I took. This is the edge of Australia. This is the end of the world, right? So this is called the Great Barrier Reef, or the Great Barrier Reef, no, the Great Australian Bight, because it's like a shark's bite bit the bottom of Australia, right? The Nullarbor, which means the boring or no trees. That's this road here, and it's got Australia's straightest road. So it's 145 kilometers of like straight nothing. Like just I was sitting there driving like for 145 kilometers.
You need to listen to AC/DC or something.
You kind of do. Like it's beautiful, but you know, like there's a lot of beautiful, which is the same. It's the same for 145 kilometers. But I mean, look, this is the cliffs off the bottom part of Australia, just here, like off the bottom. So this is, you know, just looking out over the ocean, and you just see, that's all you see. So, all right. So my wife, she said yes. So I proposed to her on 11 Mile Beach in Esperance, right here. Right. Yep. All right. So right here. So that's where we proposed, and this is right here. And then this is the bay, like 11 Mile Bay. Look at that, just incredible, like, wow. And then we stayed here, Cape Le Grand. This is a couple of photos from Cape Le Grand. Like this is the western part of Australia, which is like, that's just incredible. Like the western part of Australia, if you're into nature and not many people, it's for you. But if you like, you know, cities and nightlife and going out, you stick to the cities and stuff on the coast, like on the coast of Australia. So whether it's west down the bottom or up the east coast of Australia, there's cities and civilization. So that's my little presentation. So thanks for listening. And if you have any questions more, like feel free to ask me, or I'll get you the copy of the presentation so you can go through it again.
I have one question. The animals, they are free, or they can, or they need to live in specific areas or controlled areas?
No, I think a lot of Steve Irwin's work is about conservation and keeping Australia as wild and as free as possible. There is wildlife parks and zoos and, you know, things like that. There are places where animals do, but there's animal sanctuaries. So it's just a sanctuary, I think, is another word for like a free range conservation park where it's not touched, it's left as much as possible. Or there's wildlife parks, like 20 minutes from my house there was a Cleland Wildlife Park, which is a park, of course, which is, you know, people feed the animals, like the zookeepers or the keepers feed the animals. But there's places like in Canada where you could go, and I'm sure in all of your countries where there's areas where there's just wildlife. So, you know, like, you know, be careful not to step on any snakes, you know, like, it's like, don't step on any snakes. Cape Legrand, if there was a shark, if I went swimming and if I got, you know, bitten by a shark where I was in Cape Legrand, where I proposed to my wife, there's not many people coming to get you in this area, right? So don't get bitten by a shark in that area because there's a long way to a hospital. So there is very, very wild areas for sure, you know. So.
And
yeah.
many of most endangered animal lives in Australia. Many
yeah,
snakes,
I mean,
many
spiders. Yeah. My mother. I mean, in the country, you know, like I'm sure in the same of many of your countries, like in the cities, no, like there's no. But in the country areas, in the outback, which is another word for like country Australia. Yes, there's snakes, there's spiders, there's sharks in the ocean. There's jellyfish, you know, blue ringed octopus. So yeah, there's a couple of things that can kill you. Yeah, but I mean, it's, you know, it's a beautiful. I mean, it's a very lucky place. Very beautiful country. Very lucky to grown up there. So.
Thank you.
So
very good presentation.
Yeah, look, but well, hopefully you enjoyed that. But I'll get you a copy. No worries, guys.
I have a question.
Yeah. Keep asking me.
Yes. Why is it divided into Australia and South Australia, and it has each? I don't know if we can say each country has a capital. Why?
Yeah, it's states. So it's the same as Canada. You know, les provinces, the provinces of Canada.
Okay.
So, but Australia is so simple. It's funny, isn't it? They cut the state of Western Australia is called Western Australia. It's like, okay, cool, very original. Like, you know, South Australia is in the south. It's called South Australia.
Okay.
So it's just a name for the province of those areas, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
But we have the same laws in the south or in the north, or because in Canada we don't have the same laws. Each province has her own laws. So
yeah, I think I'm not really an expert in Australian politics, but I do know that majority of the politic or the rules in each province are similar. Like they don't differ like the US, for example. The US is very different from state, province to province, right? But there are different rules in different states, but we all drive on the left-hand side.
Okay.
I was just reading, it is enforced, common law is enforced uniformly across all states in Australia. There's a common law jurisdiction. Its court system originated in English law.
Okay.
So, and then like Canada, we have a law for Canada, but every
Asma.
Yes. Just mute Asma.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But the same way that every city could have a bit of a different law, you could have bylaws in for example, in St. Lazare and Laval, we could have some different community laws. Those are bylaws that we may have, but we have our federal law. So they're saying Australia is a common law jurisdiction. By the way, I'm creating a folder for you guys in Google Classroom. I put the Irwins in. I'll put the presentation Chris does. And I put in Australian tourism. Okay, so like a few links, and it'll be under hot topics.
Yep. Cool. But I'd be interested to doing like each one of you doing the same presentation. Like I could show you how to use canva.com, which is just where I built the presentation. All of you can do it. Like it gives you templates to use it, and I'd love to like have the same for all of your countries. It'd be amazing. So yeah.
I wrote ideas and I said I want to do this, like that we all do the same the same thing.
Yeah. Asma, you had a question?
No, just it's a good idea because we came from different countries and different cultures. It will be a very good, it will be interesting to know from each other about our countries and our culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, and I'll probably...
And you can record it and share it in the platform of TLE.
The
that
podcast
will be very interesting. Yeah.
Awesome. But it'd be good. I probably went a bit over time. I probably should have done it in 10-15 minutes. Like, but
it's perfect because we have 3 minutes left, and that's good timing.
But if you did say like, you know, each one of us did 10-15 minutes, you could get 3 or 4 done per session, you know, but that's something to think about.